I know most people are from Poland, I think, but we are streaming this event, so we're gonna speak English, which I hope is fine.
Yeah, for this for an hour for the
yeah,
first
some
one.
people are still coming in, so well, that's okay. But we have to be on time because we have a few things coming in. So still, we want to welcome you. If you guys are hungry, you can grab something. So no, don't worry. You can eat and listen to us. It's fine. Like I won't be offended that you're eating and listening. Totally okay. So welcome to the e-commerce growth meetup. And this session now will be about processes for growth, which is amazingly interesting topic because everyone loves processes. So this will not be boring, for sure. But we're going to welcome you first. My name is Wysocka. I'm the CEO of Tribe 47. I'm also a CEO of PortalYogi. Not the CEO, sorry, I'm a founder of PortalYogi. Marzena is the CEO, so let's wait for the, oh my God, we're going to have a dog this time, which is amazing.
Yeah, she's called Zosia.
The dog is called Zosia, and this is...
Yeah, I'm Arek, I'm the CEO of Sublime, and welcome everybody.
Okay, let's let the girls
the
in, and welcome the puppy. Okay, and this is not really about our companies, but we still want to introduce ourselves briefly. Tribe 47 is a launch and growth company for e-commerce, so we execute growth in short. And Sublime.
Sublime is responsible for measuring growth, and that's why we are here together.
Yeah, and we actually like to collaborate, which is okay. So today we've got some really fun things on the agenda. So first, my presentation. I'm presenting on so many conferences these last 2 weeks that I don't know. It's my I think 4th presentation in the last 2 weeks, and it's about a very different topic than I was speaking at all the other places. So sorry if I be like not perfect today. Then we've got Piotrek.
He will be talking about like the analytics approach if the company is in stagnation and wants to accelerate growth.
So you're going to be talking about data. So today you guys came for a treat. Processes and data.
That's why we have Prosecco.
Stuff. That's why we've got Prosecco for you. Because these are the things people hate usually, for the reason. And then we've got a panel discussion where we're going to have guests from MatchFit, Psi Buffet, and one expert of marketplaces. Well, you guys can see these people, but I will introduce them during the panel. Not now, because it's going to take the time. They're going to have their little spotlight soon. So thank you, Arek. Now you can...
Good luck.
Now it's my turn. Okay. So guys, this is a presentation about processes, okay? So it will be a little bit different look at the idea of growth. I think some people are coming, maybe. So I don't know, I think Leander will help. Okay, so these are the questions that I will try to answer today. First one is, what actually makes the e-commerce businesses grow? I will ask you guys too about it, so you will have your chance to speak. And then the majority of this presentation is really about avoiding the chaos of this amazing process of growth and what kind of different tools you can use to actually organize it. And finally, I will list some of the common mistakes that I have seen in the e-commerce companies that were trying to organize growth. So actually the topic of this presentation could be how to organize growth. Brilliant idea that I didn't have before. Okay, so what makes an e-commerce business grow? What do you guys think?
Marketing strategy.
Yes. What else? What else? What else?
New and returning clients.
New and returning clients. What else?
Good product.
Good product. What else? Okay, you don't know. That's great. I will tell you. I love to tell people what to do, so that's perfect. So there are different phases of the e-commerce growth. So of course everything starts with this launch phase, and we actually had an event about it before. So I will not talk about the launch phase right now so much, because you guys can listen to a recording of our previous e-commerce growth meetup, which was about the launch. Then we've got this maturity phase where everyone wants to get, where the business is stable, it's cashing, you know, it's a cash cow, it's perfect. We're talking today about this middle sector, so about this phase where the business actually grows. It can grow early and then rapidly. And we're talking about everything that happens here and that you should be doing inside of the business to make it happen and to make it going. Because, you know, this famous ceiling that we're talking about, it's when the business stops to grow, but it actually hasn't maximized its full potential. So there are some reasons for it. And, you know, in a nutshell, we're saying that in the growth phase, the advertising spend should be scaled, right? Because you're growing, so you should be spending more on advertising, and you should also be getting more clients from the spend. And at the same time, you should be retaining the customers. And in the same time, you should be retaining the customers. And you could be also, hey, Gosia, don't worry. And you should also be retaining the customers. So actually, the growth comes from the new clients and comes also from the old. So, question to you guys. So what are if there were only, it's a reminder for you guys who've been to our previous events, I'm sure you know. So, okay, there's more people. I'm excited. Hi guys. Okay, hi guys. We're talking English now because we're recording it and but since you guys were late, then the questions to you, not to penalize you anyhow, but if you could name 2 metrics that actually tell you about the health of the e-commerce, what would these 2 metrics be?
Retention.
How you can measure retention?
How?
Yeah, what's the one metric that measures retention?
Customers going back to the second, third, fourth.
Yeah, so Marek is kind of right. He just maybe forgot, you know, that there is this metric called a client lifetime value, which actually is about retention. So it's like how much the client is worth to our business. And by measuring it, we understand if the clients that we're getting are actually spending more with us. And the second metric is?
Customer acquisition cost?
Bravo. Customer acquisition cost, which is the cost of acquiring this client. So if you're going to kind of put these 2 metrics together, you will see if your business is actually growing. And this proportion between these 2 metrics should be actually improving during the growth phase. So that's like the idea in a nutshell. But of course, this proportion in the very early stages is usually negative because you're actually spending more on acquiring the client than you're making on the client. But later on, when you are actually getting this client is repeatedly buying from you, then the metric is improving. Okay, there's actually 9 areas that has to be covered for the business to grow. You guys said some of them. Marketing, everything is in these 9 areas is marketing. But let's say from the marketing perspective, like what you should do to grow the business. Ideas, what you should do.
Acquire customers.
Yes, that's very general. But when you break down the acquiring customers, then what should be done? Like what should the team do, for example?
Creating
Campaigns, what else?
Social
Social
media.
media, what else?
Omnichannel.
Omnichannel, different channels, which is the inside of the omnichannel. AI I didn't list it. AI is everywhere. What else? What else they should do? Okay, just to
Blockchain.
save your time, not blockchain, I didn't list that, but maybe in the future. It should all be managed. There should be a website, no one mentioned, but yes. creatives. So there should be some ads produced, for example, for more performance, some brand marketing as well. Marketing automation, no one said that, but you should automate your marketing, obviously. Advertising, you guys all said that. SEO, so Mateusz is here, you should mention that SEO is important for growth. Of course, they should track the data and measure results, they should do some influencers and PR management, and on social media channels, probably you can add even more. So now, how to do it all, but not fall into a drama and chaos? How? You guys know? Basically, there are ways to do it. And I was on some event on Monday where there was a guy who talked, okay, it's probably like something he came up with. It's probably not a true anecdote, but he said that he met once this guy who is always making millions from his businesses, always profitable, everything. And he asked this guy, if there is one thing that differentiates companies that grow from the companies that don't grow, if you could name this one thing, what is it? One thing. This super smart guy said.
Product, money.
No. Discipline. So now we are all feel enlightened and basically discipline. But you know, it's very true. It's very true because let's say you actually broke through this launch phase. That means that you have a good product. People want to buy from you. There is a market, but now you have to do all these 9 things and even more. This AI should be implemented at some point, maybe blockchain later on as well. Like, who knows that the world will bring different things and the innovations will come, but then in the end, it's how you actually handle all that. So today I want to talk about this. I want to give you some examples. I will check how much I'm talking about something that wasn't that relevant. Okay, I still have more than 50 minutes. So this is, guys, an example of an e-commerce growth team. Okay, it's like the fully built team. Like it doesn't have to look like this one-to-one in every business that you guys are working with or worked in, but basically there's usually quite a lot of people that are organized within different areas. The yellow one is the team organized around content and organic social media channels and advertising production. The green is organized around paid media, acquisition planning management. The blue one is about conversion and retention. So it's about marketing automation, optimizing the website, etc. And this is gray, but here looks like blue, is like the analytical team. So people who help to actually make sense of the data and get the data from the systems. And of course, there should be some head that is coordinating it all. So, it's not just a lot of things to be done, but there's usually also a group of people that has to be orchestrated, and they have a slightly different background. I will not talk today about the profiles of the best people for marketing, but we also had a session about it. But now I want to share with you today a couple of frameworks and tools that here at Tribe and together with our clients, we use to actually orchestrate the growth. So to basically avoid the chaos and make sure that this quite sometimes big group of people can collaborate effectively and that some things get done. And some of these tools we use, some of them we have used. So I try to go through different tools that I think could be useful. And I also put marks on those that I think are absolutely necessary. So hopefully you guys will get some perspective after it. Do you guys have some tools that you use in your companies for the growth that you can mention before I go? Okay. Proszę. Yes, no? Well, okay, you don't want to talk, that's fine. Again, I can tell you and I love it. So basically, I have categorized these tools into like 3 buckets. So first one is leadership and strategy in e-commerce. And here we've got quarterly meeting rhythm. So it's about meeting with your team every quarter to do some planning and summaries, and I will show you some tools that could be used for it. Quarterly summary and retrospective is a process of actually summarizing a quarter and making some conclusions from it. Quarterly goal setting. So actually setting a goal for the quarter. Do your companies have a very strict goal for the quarter?
Yes.
I know some of your companies do have, but for example, I was on an event on Monday where there were businesses, and I had a partner next to me who was running a business that is like making over 10 million slots a year, and he didn't have any quarterly goals. He was like, we're just rocking it, you know, like.
What kind of business?
It was a service business. It wasn't e-commerce. But still, I have a service business as well, and like we're super strict about goals. But he said that, well, but I'm thinking that actually something might go wrong. I already have this feeling. That's why he came to this event, right? It wasn't a surprise. But he didn't have goals, and some people don't have them. We strongly encourage to have them. Quarterly activities backlog. Another thing, I will show you what is it about. Marketing calendar, a really important tool. Do your companies have a marketing calendar in one place, available to everyone? Okay, so you guys are all rock stars, right? KPI simulation sheet. So it's a place where you actually try to predict how many customers you can get from different channels, and at the same time, goal for a particular department or a particular channel to get. Media plan, another tool. Campaign plan, another one. And a project scope. Not all of them are necessary, but from our perspective, this is a set of tools that are really helpful. Then we've got management. In management bucket, I've got monthly, weekly team meeting rhythm. So a rhythm of meeting with your team to actually take the quarterly, put it into monthly, and later to the weekly. We are fans at Tribe of using a sprint methodology for marketing. So that's something that I will show today as one of the options. We actually use it very successfully. Like, we have tried many different ways to manage marketing projects, and we actually believe sprint is one of the best ones because it allows for some dynamism around it, and that's what we use. Then structure of your project management, rules of how you want to name different things in the project, how you want to name the documents, all these very boring things that actually later make the work of everyone in the team happy, okay? Not happy from the start, but yes. Communication rules of how do you communicate between departments, what channels you use, when do you use phone, when you use Slack, when do you use email, like how do you communicate around the most important things. Delivery dashboards, that's something I will not be showing today because in these delivery dashboards, we usually have a lot of maybe sensitive materials. So how do you actually deliver materials from the creative department, for example, to the performance department? How do you make sure that the delivery items are checked off the list to make sure that everything is there? Project organization, it's something that we use at Tribe to actually set a very strict rules and have all the different links to all the different important documents in one place. And finally, we've got measuring success tools. And here we've got KPIs tracking dashboard and our all favorite tool, which is Creatives Monitoring Dashboard, which we use to actually actively assess the performance of different creatives in the campaigns. And that is something that was for us a huge breakthrough. So do you guys use at least a part of these tools in your organizations? Okay, so you can take a sandwich now and leave. Okay. And retrospective, which is actually the same thing as leadership and strategy, but it can be placed in both places. So let me give you an examples of how we actually, what kind of tools and how organized we use at Tribe. So leadership and strategy. So I can't really zoom it very well because it's an actual quarterly summary dashboard done in the Miro app of a company that we used to work with like a long time ago. And it's a place where we try to put together all the materials that were used during the quarter. So in one place, you've got results from different paid media campaigns, email marketing campaigns, links to the creative retrospectives, and if you've got some graphs or whatever important data, it's also there. So whenever we start planning the quarter, it's very important to do a retrospective of the previous one. For example, in MatchFit, this is a presentation. So I'm sure Gosia will talk a little bit more about it during the panel, but here is an example that's actually all kind of channeled into one Miro board, so it helps to have all the data for everyone in one place. I believe it's a must-have process for companies that treat growth seriously to actually spend this time on looking what happened in the previous quarter. Then there is another process, sorry that it doesn't look very visible here, but it's a team retrospective meeting where you see like 3 different buckets: green, yellow, orange, and purple. It's about working with your team on the 3 different buckets of what you should stop, continue, and start doing in the next quarter based on the results that you have just seen previously. Like, we have been doing this process in some projects, in some we didn't, in some we started, in some we didn't. But basically, especially in the projects that are in the early growth stage, like when we were using this process, it was super, super helpful because it helps the team to come together and have like a meaningful discussion about these results of a quarter. Usually we do like this, that we give a separate board to every person in the team. Then they have like 5 minutes or maximum 10 minutes to fill in each bucket of what we should stop, continue, and start doing. And after that, we have a discussion where we try to put all these conclusions together. And it's really important that you do the quarterly retrospective of the data before, because if no one looked at the data and they're just coming up with the ideas out of nowhere, this process will not work. So you have to have a chance for the team to look at the actual summaries and look at the data from the quarter. Then we've got the quarterly goals setting. Super, super important. So for the e-commerce, like what we believe is that setting just the revenue goal is not enough, because revenue can come from many different places. Now, you should go much deeper into setting the goal. So here is like a very basic example that, okay, we've got a revenue goal, and then how many new clients should be part of this revenue? 20% for the company that is like growing, maybe doesn't have a super ambitious growth goals, it's okay. But in some companies, this number of new clients should be much bigger. This is just an example. Then it breaks down into how many unique visitors we should have on the site, what should be the conversion rate, what should be the average order value, and the frequency in this quarter. So once the goal is broken down, that it allows you to create further goals for the team. So I believe the goal setting is the must-have, and it should be taken further than the actual revenue. So here it's an example also from some old projects, so I don't, and I will not tell you which, so the data is a little bit manipulated, doesn't matter. So once you have your quarterly goal, then you can basically break it down into particular goals per channels. So how many sales are supposed to come from each channel? So if you have your goal, then you should have a goal per channel. And per channel, you should have the goal of how many sales it should bring, but also what should be the CAC, right? So customer acquisition cost that we spoke about. So once you have that, then for example, to your agency, you come with a specific task, right? Not just launch ads, you have 10K and these are the graphics, but you actually have the goal that they should be working on. And I believe it's a must-have. And then there's another thing, like we used to work with it on some projects, on some not. sometimes when actually this phase of retrospective is very active and people throw in lots of ideas that should be happening in the next quarter, it's very good to organize it in the backlog. Like there were cases, especially in the projects where there's like so many things to be done that like, you know, it's still the early stage of growth and you've got like, I don't know, 30 ideas that should be executed and different campaign ideas and a lot of stuff. It's very good to take these ideas from the retrospective and actually put them into the backlog and give them some kind of like, you know, we try to actually rate them based on the effort that they require and based on, for example, the impact that they can have on the actual results. And this gives you later some perspective on maybe some things that you should not be executing or wait for the next quarter, and some things that are super obvious and you should be doing them this quarter to actually stimulate growth. And finally, a must-have, it's a marketing calendar. So I believe this is one of the super crucial things because it visualizes all the marketing activities that should be done in the quarter, but it puts them in the time. So it allows you to actually plan the teamwork. So this is a screen of, and you should always like adjust it to what works for your company. So this is a screen from one of our projects where it is organized in Miro, but I can show you an example from my project, which is PortalYogi. So, you know, this is where I'm not super sensitive with data because it's just, it's still me, so I can show you guys. So basically in PortalYogi, we just do it in just an Excel sheet. So we have an Excel sheet where we list different activities, and if you guys look here, these activities are divided basically, like we've got different colors for different types of activities. So, you know, in one of the sections, we've got a legend where you can see it. And here you've got like the whole year, and then it breaks down into particular months. So for example, 2024 is here, and then when you go there, you will find 24, but before you've got like different months where it's broken into a different set of activities that are being executed, and basically it's one place where all the team member can go and understand what's happening and what's going to be happening next. So there are different ways, like it's not one template. Here, for example, it's another template. I think, Paulina, it's from you guys. Like I will not be zooming on it because, again, sensitive data, but you can see that like the organization of it, it's very different, for example, than the PortalYogi. So there doesn't have to be like one template. The previous one was a screenshot of how it works on one of the e-grocery companies we work with. So Madfeed has a different, but I think also an Excel sheet, right? So you've got have it in a different way. It doesn't matter how. It's important that everyone understands its logic. And then here you guys can see something else, which is actually a funnel flow. Like if you guys know us as Stripe, you know that we were always famous for the funnels. But if you have a more complex campaign, like for example, Black Friday that has different elements, for example, pre-campaign and middle campaign, it's sometimes very good to actually draw how the campaign flows, because it's going to help the whole team to understand what's happening and what are different elements that come together. So it's not a must-have. Maybe your company is at the stage where all the campaigns are very similar, but when you're having a campaign that is untypical or longer, or there's like more people, more elements that come in, very good tool to actually visualize it as a flow of activities. So here you see like what kind of pages, what kind of ads, what happens from which channels they come. So you see it like as a user journey that everyone can relate to. Then we've got media plan. So media plan, again, maybe for smaller companies, not super important because they can live off just with the goals per channel. But the bigger you get, the more channels you have, media plan is super important. And inside of the media plan, every channel, especially of the paid advertising, should be broken down into budgets, goals, per audiences, different formats. So it's one place where all the advertising can be organized and actually monitored from one set. Arek was already telling me I'm talking too long. This is our little thing we call Project Scope. It's a tool that we use to actually plan the number of hours that different people from our team should spend on different activities that were in the marketing calendar that require to reach the goals. We are agency, like we have to be super organized. But sometimes, especially when you're in the stage where you don't know how many people you need, like for example, in PortalYogi, we also did it because we wanted to understand with my partner, like how many people we actually need for the execution of everything in the company. So it was helpful just to list down the number of hours that different things take in a month. So we understand how many people we actually need, what we should outsource elsewhere. And this was about, this is management, oh my God, and it's already past. So how long you guys have the presentation? Can I? 25. So can I still take 10 minutes or you go? 5 minutes, okay. So I think the leadership and planning was still the more interesting. These are our tools which are less interesting, for me still made a huge difference. So for example, at Tribe, we use a document called Project Management Tool Structure, where we actually have a template where we show like what's the naming convention of different documents that people should use. We've got like a structure of, we use ClickUp as our project management tool. So we have like the screenshots of how it should actually be organized in ClickUp, the project. So everyone knows how to do it. It's standardized. And, you know, if we actually make some changes, then we make the change in the standard. But when new people come to the company, like they understand how it works. This is coming from the agency, but if the company is bigger and there is a lot of marketers, and we know retention of marketers, so it's then you're gonna have new people coming into your organization anyway. It's good to have. We, for example, also have this sprint project management process. So here you see the example of the ClickUp, which we use as our project management tool, and we are organizing sprints. So do you guys know what is sprint? Can someone tell what is a sprint?
First one.
It's a first run, or thank you, yeah, but it's also the way of collaborating where every week you are setting the list of different tasks. They should be executed within, it can be a week, it can be 2 weeks, like depends like what's your sprint period. And then you're managing these particular tasks actively. And we use, in ClickUp, for example, sprint is a very different way of project management. And we are, for example, using tags to tag different set of activities. We make sure that we always have an assignee, like all these rules we try to make very clear. And it's one of our favorites. I mean, not mine, I'm not this super project management oriented person, but we have right now in Tribe people who love it. And results monitoring. So actually this is one of our favorite things. I want to show you briefly. It's something that made a ton of difference for us. It's a dashboard here. Again, you can see an example from PortalYogi, so data is not super sensitive, where we are very, very meticulously, actually, oh God, why it happened? Okay, I don't know how to do it. Okay, so basically, okay, so basically here you can see like all the creatives, let's say December, that were used in PortalYogi ad sets on different channels. We've got Meta, and we also got, I think, in some of the cases as well, TikTok. And you have different comments and different marks on how these ad sets were performing. So, and you've got the whole history of these ad sets. We use these dashboards on different projects, and it actually helps us to understand which creatives are actually being effective and which are not. Super important for the growth, because you're going to be scaling advertising. you have to start doing tests and you have to start making conclusions. And the creatives are super difficult thing because they actually make a difference. But if you don't have any visual representation of the results, it's very difficult later not to lose attraction and not to lose the learning that you had before. So as you can see, we are being quite consistent with that process, and you can, this is a copy of just 2 months because I think someone made it for us, but if you look at Portal Yogi, you have it every week happening for the last already, I think, 2 years. Okay, I know my time is running, but here I also wanted to show you the other monitoring thing. So this is like a looker. So you can use a looker to actually kind of monitor your results. It's good for some of the companies. I believe that when you are more complex, you should use, for example, yeah, Arek was like, why do you show looker? But I had Sublime. So if some company is more complex, like you should be looking for some third-party tools. Sublime is one of them. There's other tools that you can use for actually organizing all your data coming from different streams. It can come from your shopping app, it can come from your marketing automation tool, it can come from the advertising sources, from different places where you actually can look at it and start making quick conclusions. So I know I'm finishing, but I just want to give you the last comment about what, from my experience, are the most common mistakes that companies make, and I made, or we made. Like, it's not just, other people make it, I never made it. We made this many times when they're implementing different processes for managing growth. So first one, lack of consistency and discipline. Seriously, like this discipline is a big thing. Sticking to the process is like sticking to the habit. Like you're saying, I'm gonna go to the gym, and you know how most of the people in Poland end up after January. Yeah, they still pay for the gym, but they don't go. Overcomplicating the templates. Like we were faulty of it as well. That basically the template is too complicated for people to use. We have some set of templates, but every business case is different, so it needs some adjustments. Sometimes you can just overcomplicate it. Building too many templates and processes at once for the same thing. I don't know how it happens, but in almost every project, at some point it happens, because one person wants to see it that way, and then someone comes saying, I want to see it that way because it's better, and then you've got this process, and like not sticking to one consistent way of actually monitoring it. Letting go of developing processes because the first attempt of introducing them failed. Seen it many times. Most of the people, especially in the early growth stage companies, where they're coming from the startup mode where everyone was doing everything and there was chaos, they actually are very resistant to sticking to the process. That's normal. I mean, it's just like people psychology. It's not weird. It's just what it is. So you really have to take the time to onboard the team, and you have to be persistent as a boss of the team to actually make sure that people follow the process, because if you don't, it will just never happen. And sometimes you have to exchange the people in your team as well, because those who never want to stick to processes, maybe they're not good team players, and they were good for the startup, but they're not good for the grow up. And that's also the reality of what it is. And don't kill me, Piotrek, but yes, thank you. Did you guys learn something, or for you it's all obvious and you do it? Okay.